Oh, you know there's no way that I'm not going to respond to the Helen Zille Anele fiery exchange. So in this video, I'm going to play you two small sections from this earth-shattering fight. And if you stay with me until my biblical reaction at the end, you'll find that you would have gotten a bonus biblical reaction. But I'm going to drop a truth bomb that you will want to share with everyone on your WhatsApp phone book for South Africa to prosper. So if you're ready for that, press like and let's start with the introduction.
It's a convincing announcement there from the DA. In studio, we've got Helen Zille. Thank you so much for your time, Helen Zille.
Thank you, Anele. Sorry about the Joburg traffic. Otherwise, I would have been here a bit early.
Is that one of the things you're going to fix?
No. I can't fix the Joburg traffic unless we fix public transport, and that is a big, big challenge.
So you've held so many leadership positions, and I think the one that lives closely to what you are running towards now is the fact that you were mayor in Cape Town, and you won an award for World Mayor of the Year in 2008. It's something people don't speak about.
That's wild.
Often.
World Mayor of the Year? Indeed, I agree with the gentleman. That's wild. But speaking of wild, how wild is this?
I mean, I look at a city like Joburg, and just when you think service delivery can't get any worse, your low expectations get shattered again. I mean, the water crisis in the city is something that's just unbelievable. I look at an announcement that Helen Zille could run for mayor of Joburg, and I say, look, I'm no supporter of the DA, but I've said, good luck, ANC, because the experience of people in the city under ANC leadership, not just in this administration, but over decades, quite frankly, I can't see them scraping together, being the biggest party in the city anymore.
Look, if Helen Zille wins the contest in the DA, I am not a supporter of the DA either. Sure. I'm very clear. If Helen Zille wins the contest to become the mayoral candidate of Johannesburg, I'm going to do something I've never done in my life. I am going to publicly endorse her. Did you hear that?
Wow.
This is big.
Yeah.
I am going to do something I have never done in my life. Publicly, I will endorse Helen Zille to be mayor of Johannesburg with a heavy heart. I mean, the way the ANC has destroyed Johannesburg. Johannesburg used to be the pride of Africa. They were spending money, by the way, marketing money. Pakistan destroyed this city, but it was part of the destruction of this city.
We hear his tenure was this amazing.
No, it's nonsense. By the way, I did research. Pakistan is not it Mr. Clean that way. So they've destroyed Johannesburg. So Helen Zille, for example, a proven track record. She ran Cape Town as mayor. She did not destroy it. She ran the Western Cape as premier. She did not destroy it. Let me tell you something that will shock you. Cape Town, the Cape Town city center is the second most visited part of South Africa by tourists. Listen to this. The Cape Town city center is the second most visited part of South Africa by tourists, second to the Kruger National Park. Tell me, would you advise anyone you know, a tourist, to visit the city center of Johannesburg, to go to Hillbrow?
Yes, I would advise them if their name is Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee. But let's get back to our interview. Why is it that all analysts who speak about the DA, when they speak about the ANC, they just analyze, but whenever they say something positive about the DA, they feel the need to say, but I'm not voting for the DA? Well, here's the answer. It's the stigma that the DA carries, and this is it.
I mean, Helen, we're not going to sit here and act like you are not good enough for the job, right? We know that you're good enough for the job, but I think there are politics in you getting the job as mayor of Johannesburg because of how Cape Town is currently run. Certain areas in Cape Town are run fantastically well. When world class doesn't begin to describe how well those areas are run, but there's some that aren't, right? And Cape Town works well because there's segregation, and that's why it's easy to run it like that. Johannesburg isn't segregated. How are you going to manage that?
You make a very bold statement about Cape Town being segregated. I live in a suburb that is totally integrated, completely integrated.
Yes, that's one or two suburbs, but you
Not
have
one or two suburbs. I mean, absolutely everywhere. When people get a job and can earn an income, they can go and live where they can afford to live.
Afford.
Well, of course, all of us live where we can afford to live. I would love to live in Camps Bay. I can't afford to live in
But that's
Camps
why
Bay.
Cape Town is segregated, because it is made difficult for people who are from Gugulethu and Langa and Khayelitsha to then move into the suburbs. You can't tell me Cape Town is not segregated with a flat face. You
can't tell me that Joburg isn't segregated with a flat face. I mean, I'm here in the middle of Sandton. This is some of the most expensive properties. But let me explain to you a little bit of the facts of Cape Town. Cape Town has been well run for 20 years. When a place is well run and gets reliable services and the politicians are honest and they don't steal the money, then many businesses relocate to Cape Town and many people relocate to Cape Town. And while hundreds of thousands of very poor people also relocate to Cape Town because they want a better life, Cape Town is lucky enough to have very many people who can invest money, who can start businesses, and who can create jobs also coming to Cape Town. Those people are running away from Johannesburg. When people who have capital and skills come to a city, obviously property prices increase because there's a lot of competition for those properties. But also in that kind of context, people pay very high rates so that we can offer the most generous by far, free basic services package to the very poor in the city of Cape Town.
Okay, so in there you say you're running away to Joburg, running away to Cape Town and all of that. One of the other reasons that your mayoral candidacy is under
Scrutiny.
Scrutiny. The Star this morning on the headline, they said your campaign is controversial, is because you called black people who are going to Cape Town refugees. So when you've made statements like that in the past, do you realize that they can be detrimental to what you want now?
Let me tell you that I'm a refugee and my parents were refugees. They came here because their lives were threatened and half my family was murdered. And that is why they were refugees in South Africa. There's absolutely no blame on a refugee for being a refugee.
But in the context of what you were saying...
The blame is on the circumstances that forced them to become a refugee. Now, the truth is that many, many people come to Cape Town because they are escaping the situation in which they live. In the Eastern Cape, hundreds of thousands of people leave for Cape Town because they want a school that works, because they want a clinic that works, because they want a chance to get a job, because they want clean water, because they want reliable electricity, because they want connectivity. And refugee is a word that you use everywhere in the world. It is not pejorative to say you are going away from something.
It is, though, because you were referring to the black people in the Eastern Cape who've gone to Cape Town, because much like that, you can't say they just went to Western Cape. They also come to Johannesburg. My question to you is, now you want to come and be the mayor of Johannesburg, but if you are looking at black people who are coming to Johannesburg, who are here living in Johannesburg, that are not here as refugees, that's not the person you want in charge.
Why do black people hate refugees so much?
You can't ask them why we're offended by something. If it offends them, it offends them. That's not the debate here. The debate is, you didn't call the white people in Cape Town who are not from Western Cape refugee. But in that moment when you said it, you didn't.
I'm a refugee.
So do you regret the way that came out? Would you like to change that statement?
Well, the truth is that anybody who wants to create a
better life for themselves.
Anybody who wants to create offense and manufacture outrage will pick one word that isn't offensive and build it up as if it causes moral outrage. What I'm saying is the circumstances in the Eastern Cape are a total disgrace. The circumstances in Johannesburg are a total disgrace. I would call myself...
Some of the places in Cape Town are also a total disgrace.
Well, you tell me which places haven't got water, which places haven't got electricity, which places haven't got refuse removal, which places have not got
safety.
Well,
this is such a circular argument. So, two things are happening here. Number one, Anele is trying to give Helen Zille an opportunity to answer all the ANC propaganda that has gone out that makes everybody go, I'm not supporting the DA, I'm just saying, and always having to clarify that. You're an analyst, we assumed you don't support any party. Or Anele herself is a comrade and she is failing, she's trying and failing to push ANC propaganda, because this is so ridiculous. Cape Town is segregated. She says, no, it's not, because I live in an integrated suburb. Oh, so it's only, no, but it's only 1 or 2 suburbs, which would mean it's not segregated. And then Helen says, no, it's like that everywhere. And then let me give you an economics 101 lesson so you understand how you actually get people to prosper. We do this and give more than all other metros to the poorer areas. Then she says, no, but it's segregated because you call them refugees. Then Helen says, when you call someone a refugee, you're not insulting them, you're insulting whatever it is that they ran away from. And then she says, yeah, but then you only do it in the city, meaning it's segregated. You don't do it in the townships. Then she says, tell me which place doesn't have water, electricity, all of those basics that local government does. Then she jumps from a local government issue to a national government issue. This is what's going on here. For John the Baptist came neither eating nor drinking, and they said, he has a demon. The Son of Man comes eating and drinking, and they say, you're a glutton, a wine bibber, a friend of tax collector and sinners. You can't make someone happy when they are committed to misunderstanding you. So how do we solve it? The next line. But wisdom is justified by her children. How do we know who's right? We look at her children, her outcomes. Everything Anele has said has led to thieves, collapse, mess. Everything that Helen Zille has said has led to the best city in the world, the best townships in South Africa, the best employment in all provinces. Helen Zille's children are much cuter than Anele's ugly babies. So wisdom is justified by all her children. But now listen to the next part, because this is the truth bomb I want to drop.
Once again, there are areas in Cape Town where what you're saying, you're absolutely correct, and there's proof of it. But the areas in Cape Town that are not, and the optics are, the areas in Cape Town that are not are the areas that are people of color. Right.
Well,
so what it looks like is that, yes, you do know how to run, municipalities.
You're pretending, Anele, you're pretending that there are places all over South Africa that are poor, that are not people of color. The tragedy is, with the legacy of the past, in Johannesburg, there are ghastly, ghastly areas. Drive through Alexandra and see what it looks like. It is an absolute bloody disgrace. Drive through Alexandra and see what it looks like. Those are people of color. If you go to any ANC-run municipality, people of color are worse off than they are in any DA municipality. And that's a fact.
So
and even the president knows that.
Yeah, so what you're saying then is the DA is bad, but not as bad as the ANC, and that's why we should vote for you.
No. The DA faces the legacy of the past. It raises a huge amount of money from the better off suburbs and cross-subsidizes to give the poor the best free basic service package in the country, billions investing in infrastructure for the poor. But let me tell you something else, Anele. No government anywhere ever is going to put you in a 3-bedroom house in a garage. What government does is provide you water, electricity, sewerage, refuse removal, a school, and a clinic. And then people have to use that as a platform to get themselves out of poverty. Ask people what they are doing. How many parents are being role models for their children, or how many are taking drugs and drinking alcohol? This is a partnership. The government provides the ladder. The parents have to hold the ladder, and the children have to climb up the ladder. I
don't dispute that, and you're right, everything you said, but I just feel like if you're using Cape Town as an example, it is just provided better to other areas than other areas.
Absolutely not. We provide much, much better to the poor than we do to the rich.
So Anele's colleagues try to calm down the conversation, but it goes back to this, because this is the real debate here.
Is it possible, though, Helen, given the comparisons that we've made between Sandton, Alexandra, Camps Bay, Nyanga, to provide the same level of satisfaction from a city and services point of view to people in those two realities, because they exist now?
Well, it depends what people think the city can deliver. The city built none of those homes in Camps Bay, and the city has built none of the homes in Sandton. That is all private sector investment and all individual investment. It's got nothing to do with the city. The city's job is to provide water, electricity, roads, refuse removal, sewerage, some of the clinics. We don't do schools from the city. That is the provincial mandate. We don't do major hospitals from the city. That is also a provincial mandate. But if you are getting those things, the city is working for you. After that, people who advance in life concentrate on their education. You know what the most important thing in life is when you're born? You have to be born safely in a clinic where you don't get damaged at birth. Then you need 2 absolutely committed parents who will sacrifice everything for you, who will make sure that you go to a pre-primary school that has to be there, of course, that you ensure that you get all of the pre-primary education you need. You go to a state school that should be well run, that should be delivering you good education, that your parents make sure you do your homework every single day, that you go through the system without getting pregnant. And that's your responsibility and your parents' responsibility. Without
Helen,
going on to drugs.
You're getting lofty.
No, I'm
sorry.
not getting
you
lofty.
are getting lofty.
I am talking about a partner. It's not ideal.
No,
it's real.
Lofty. But no, we're
It's
talking granular
real.
things. The fact that you even like 2 parents. No, come on, man. You can't guarantee anybody 2 parents, right?
Last I checked, the one thing we can guarantee in this life is death, taxes, and 2 parents. Because all of my friends have 2 parents. Everyone in my family has 2 parents. And whoever had 1 parent, the 1 parent never managed to produce a child by themselves. So no, we can't we can't guarantee 2 parents. It's the only thing we can guarantee. But this is the clash of the worldviews here. Anele's worldview is that people belong to government, and therefore government must deliver everything for them. Helen Zille's view is people belong to their parents, people belong to their families, while Anele's Comrade thinking is people's identity belongs to their political leader. Now, this then affects how do we move people up? How do we get people to prosper? If they belong to the politician and have no family, so they are blacks before they are Eshongwe, then they've got to look up to their daddy, Julius Malema, Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, for everything, because the family must break. None of them you will ever hear fighting about the family. All of them feel that any wealthy family is something to be hated, not something to be inspired by. In God's worldview, people belong to their families. That's why honor your father and mother is the only command with a promise, because it's linked to how God sees human beings. They belong to families, and then the state, therefore, must support them to flourish. And that's why private activity in this worldview is how you produce prosperity. But in the worldview, Anele's worldview, where her daddy is Ramaphosa or Julius or Jacob Zuma, everything must be done by daddy. And they first think of themselves by skin color before family identity. This is the fight that we are experiencing here. And because I don't want to jump to my biblical reaction before playing you the really hot part of this interview, after the hot part, my biblical reaction.
Good morning. My question will be for Helen Zille. What will she do for the Johannesburg water problem?
Well, first of all, the water and electricity crisis didn't come overnight. It came from 30 years of zero maintenance. And I must say, Anele, with great respect, your callers are asking much more sensible questions than you are, because they're asking the granular questions that have something to do with local government. Now, the first thing people need is water. You can forget about all the other highfalutin stuff. They need water. And when people don't have water because the government has never maintained the infrastructure or invested in new infrastructure, you're going to be without water. Now, we'll have to fix it bit by bit. Let's take the Hurst Hill Reservoir. There's plenty of water in the Vaal Dam. There's plenty of water that's come from the heavens, but you can't pump it into the Hurst Hill Reservoir because there's a big crack in it because it's never been maintained over 30 years. And the pipes are all broken. The city of Johannesburg has replaced 17 kilometers of pipe in a year. Do you know how little that is? Cape Town does over 200 a year and has been doing over 200 since 2006. And over 20 years, that adds up to a lot. And Cape Town has one of the lowest wastages of water in the world.
You're
One
right.
of the lowest. Joburg loses 46% of its water, almost 50%.
Cape Town is a great example
Yes.
of a well-run.
So that is
what
what
about
a local
Tshwane
government
and
has
what
to
about
do.
Nelson Mandela Bay? Are they as well-run as Cape Town?
Of course not, because it hasn't had the DA government for 20 years. That's the point.
So you're saying that
When you've had the DA government for 20
No,
years,
Helen.
you have a good place. I'm telling you the truth. You can say, oh, Helen, all you like, because I'm not playing your ideological games here. I'm talking about service delivery on the ground, which is what local government is about.
Okay.
Bottom line. And to answer I'm answering still your callers because they're asking the good questions here.
You don't have to insult us into like
You're insulting
into putting
me,
us back.
I will
No,
insult
we're
you.
asking you good questions. We didn't insult you once. We're asking you good
I
questions.
want to tell
you don't
you,
have to get
if you
defensive.
want- I'm
you don't
not
have to get.
defensive,
You
I'm on the
are.
attack.
You
I'm on the
are,
attack.
because the first insult
I'm
here
on
that
the
was
attack.
thrown was that none of us in this studio are asking good questions.
Well, you aren't.
You don't have to.
That's a fact.
This is going to be a
You don't have to
partnership.
be insulted
You
by the
don't have-
facts.
This is going to be a partnership. We run Joburg as well as you are going to.
You run Joburg.
Yes, we do. We come
run
here.
your studio.
Yes, that's what we're doing, Helen. If you win, we're going to be in a partnership because this is a platform that you are going to use to communicate a lot of times. So you don't have to come and insult us. Just you can don't be snarky about it. Still answer. No
Let me
one
tell
was
you,
snarky.
if
We
you
welcomed you
insult
in,
me,
and we're great.
I will give as good as I get, and you have to understand
When did
that.
we insult you, my
With
dear?
every single sideswipe
well,
question.
no, we asked you
right.
questions,
Let me
valid
answer your
questions.
listeners. No one's interested
Super
in
flustered.
you here.
But
They're
you
interested in
came
the
here,
answers to my questions.
Helen, you came
I can
here.
also leave.
Okay,
but I
you
want to answer your
can.
listeners. Okay. Now I'm going to answer your listeners. We will start a maintenance program. We will start by switching a lot of the operational budget into maintenance. Johannesburg spends less on maintenance than any other city in the country. And that is a disgrace. And that is why the poor are suffering. Because there's been no new investment in capital infrastructure and there has been no maintenance. And that is a disgrace because all the money has been siphoned off, given to cadres, turned Joburg into an employment creation hub for the ANC and its own cadres. And that is exactly why you're sitting in this problem. We can't fix it overnight. We will have a maintenance plan. We will inform you of what the maintenance plan is. We will deliver on that maintenance plan. And we will do so with experts, not deployed cadres who want to steal the money to build houses in Waterfall and to do all the other things instead of looking after people in poor areas.
Okay, so once again, then it will be a corruption thing that you're getting rid of. Let's say you are found to be involved in corruption things like the Zille Spook tenders. How do we approach that? Because you already said that that's not the vibe that you're going to go on, but it has come up. Once again, my question to you is, it just sounds like you're saying the DA is corrupt, but we're not as corrupt as the ANC. So how do you work around that when there is some sort of trail that there has been corruption in the DA?
That is hilarious, Anele. You say you're not insulting me. That is an extremely insulting
Guys,
thing
was
to
that
say.
an insult?
It is a deep insult to say that the DA is corrupt and that I'm corrupt. A deep insult.
But okay, the Zille Spook tender files
Helen,
did
just-
present corruption.
Can I just say, Anele never called you corrupt.
She says, what about the Zille corruption? So let me now answer
Zille
her question.
Spook
frankly.
tender. No, I didn't say the Zille corruption.
What is the Zille
Not-
Spook tender?
Kaloku, there was also allegations of corruption under you. So I'm saying, if that is found, because you are saying the reason you're going to be able to
I'd
run
love to hear corruption under
Johannesburg.
me. I'd love to hear corruption
Yes,
under me.
but that's what I'm saying, that you are
Give
saying
me
that the
evidence.
reason that
Give me
Johannesburg
evidence.
is not run well is because that you're right, the money does disappear. That's something you and I both agree on. But I'm saying that there are allegations of corruption within the DA.
Examples?
So would you
Examples?
Nancy, this book files the 10 is on.
Which book? Give me examples, please.
Helen, is there anything else you'd like to say before we make sure that every single time that you are here campaigning, we want to hear from you?
If you ask me a question and make an allegation, you have to substantiate it. Simple.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. There were allegations. So what I'm saying to you is...
Allegations
if-
is not proof.
if there is found to be corruption within the DA, right?
Yeah.
That means that you can't do what you're saying that you're going to do.
Okay, let me give you an answer to that question, Anele. The bottom line answer to that question is you don't survive in the DA if you are corrupt. You are chopped off immediately at the neck. In the ANC, you can't survive if you're not corrupt because everybody's corrupt. So the minute someone like Babita Deokaran is not corrupt, they have to take her out. So in the ANC, you can't survive if you're not corrupt. In the DA, you can't survive if you are corrupt.
Can you survive in the DA if you're racist?
Certainly not. We're the most non-racial party there is, and we are completely judging people on their value as human beings and not the color of their skin.
Because I think that will be your biggest obstacle in getting to mayor. Once again, I led this conversation with the fact that you are very qualified to run and be mayor. I do not for a second doubt that. I just think that as a person who is living in Johannesburg, as a black person who lives in Johannesburg, black people struggle to see you wanting to forward them, right? That's what it comes across as.
Anele, when were you elected as the spokesperson of all black people? You weren't. How can you speak for black people? I can't speak for white people.
Helen, you are not on Twitter every day. You see what people say about you, babe. You see it. People do not trust you to have the interests of black people at heart. Please don't come here and want to like.
Twitter is not the voters' role.
You are everywhere.
Twitter is not the voters' role. That is the first thing you have to. And you don't speak for black people. I don't speak for white people. I judge you as an individual, and I want people to judge me as an individual.
Okay.
I bet I did more to fight apartheid than everybody sitting in the studio today.
And so did the people that are now currently running it into the ground as well. So,
well, some of them. But no one who loves South Africa will steal its money and run it into the ground. No one.
Okay.
And I have no time for people who claim struggle credentials, get into power and steal the people blind.
Okay.
None at all.
Thank you for your time. We are so late for news. We apologize.
I am so sorry. I would love to answer some serious questions from your listeners instead of arguing with you.
Next time when you are on time, you can answer some serious questions from our listeners.
Whoa! So just in case you don't know what the Zille Spooks thing was, it's this thing that happened a long time ago. The Press Council Appeals Panel found in favor of Premier Helen Zille in a complaint against the Cape Times. Cape Times repeatedly made false allegations on its front page over the course of several months beginning in November 2015. Despite the ongoing appeals process, the Cape Times continued to run repeated front page stories using the false and defamatory statement, including deploying posters on the street. But Judge Bernard Ngwepe, during the course of the hearing, repeatedly asked Cape Times what proof they had to justify the claim that Mr. Skeepers was employed to spy for the Premier. The newspaper could provide no credible answer to this question. The reason for this, Judge Ngwepe found, was that Skeepers' company had never been contracted to spy on anyone. The panel concluded that debugging is the very opposite of spying. So the panel also found that the Cape Times had used a single anonymous source without testing the veracity of the claims made. So the Zille Spooks was a nonsense statement where they used Mr. Skeepers, but they used to call him Zille Spook, Zille Spook, Zille Spook, Zille Spook. My biblical reaction. He says, and if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, or the gods of the Amorites. So are you going to run with the gods of your history, or are you going to run with the gods of your area in whose land you dwell? Or are you going to go with God? But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Here's the worldview clash that we were watching. The God of the struggle says the gods of the South African psychology, the way South Africans think, is that people are individuals that belong to blackness or whiteness. And if they belong to blackness, then their daddy is Cyril Ramaphosa, Jacob Zuma, or Julius Malema. And they will pay the baby mama financing program. They will say not a single word about anyone belonging to a family. they will happily live with school kids beating up their parents, beating up teachers, while blaming apartheid. Because that is the worldview that has run the country so long. Here's the thing. God's worldview is honor your mother and father. In other words, God thinks of individuals belonging to families, and that changes everything about how you see the economy, how you see government, how you see everything political. So, as for me and my house, you realize what happens here? We will serve the Lord. So I want to challenge you. If you're a believer, I don't care how devout you might be. Let me tell you this. It is impossible to run with the worldview of Anele Mdoda and be aligned to God's worldview of human beings. People don't belong to politicians. You are not a sellout because you disagree with Julius Malema. You are not a sellout because you disagree with Jacob Zuma. You are not a sellout because you disagree with Cyril Ramaphosa. And these are the two worldviews. The first one has always produced poverty and suffering throughout history. The worldview where people identify themselves as individuals given to families, and then the families create a society, then there's a government, is where all prosperity in history has come from. That's why I always say, no man can serve two masters, for either he'll love the one or hate the other, or he'll despise the one and honor the other. You cannot serve God and Karl Marx. So tell somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody to choose the right worldview. But I know, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Let's make history together. Cheers.